Thank you,
This is
smile.
always so much fun. We are live on Facebook, and now we're getting ready to also go live on Instagram. There we go. I think, are we? Yes, we're live everywhere, folks.
Oh,
So very exciting. And I am really excited. I cannot tell you guys. I really do hope we end up getting a good turnout. I apologize that I thought, oh, I made sure I posted a reminder on Facebook to at least all the gang there. And I did a mention on Instagram. And then I realized that I posted on the wrong Facebook page. So, Sheila rides again. But we already have somebody with us here on Instagram. So thank you so much for joining us today. I'm delighted, you guys, to have my friend Laura Kneib on here with me. I've known Laura for many years, and she's such a mover and shaker. And we're going to be talking about starting your own business, how Laura successfully did that, and just encouragement for things to do. Maybe if you're reaching the second act in life, or you're in the first act and wanting to start your business. And Nancy has arrived from Wisconsin. Hi, Nancy. And Connie has made it here from Columbus. Hi, guys. Thanks. I am so happy that some of you have been able to come in and join us today. It's going to be such a fun. I've been just so excited and looking forward to this for so long. And Carolyn's arrived from Illinois. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, Laura and I have known each other for quite a while. We met several years ago when we lived together both in beautiful Bremerton, Washington, and we worked together to bring to the town a ladies' night out. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of those, where you get to go and get samples from all the stores, and it's just a big fun evening for the women, and it's a lot of work. And Laura was one of the first people on my committee, God bless her, and one of our great workers. We've got a couple more. Hi to Shirley, hi to Deanne. I'm so glad you guys could join us. Anyway, so we were little movers and shakers once upon a time, weren't we?
oh my goodness, yes.
It was very fun working on that, and we had such a really good time. And the city continues to grow, and kind of in boomtown phase, which is great. And hi, Cindy here. We're glad you're here watching from Ohio. And Patricia's joined us from New Hampshire. We're getting all the East Coast girls in anyway. That's awesome, guys. And Laura happens to be over there on the East Coast now. I was very sorry when she moved because we had just bought a house like 5 minutes away from where she lived. And then she said, oh, by the way, I'm leaving Washington. I'm like, I didn't leave Washington. Who gave you permission to do that? Oh, dear. So before we get talking, just a couple of quick announcements. I noticed if any of you are looking for summer sale bargains or looking to do your Christmas shopping early, this is kind of cool. A couple of my books are on sale right now on Amazon. The 12 Months of Christmas, the trade paperback, is on sale for only $9.99. Oh my gosh, when was the last time you got a brand new book for $9.99? That's pretty cool. And last year's Christmas book, The Merry Matchmaker, is on sale for $10.65. So if you're doing some shopping early for Christmas and are interested, hop on over there and take advantage of these sales while they're going, because why not? I don't know if anybody else, am I the only one who does their Christmas shopping early? I shop all through the year, because if I don't, I will run out of money in December and people will get IOUs. So I like to do my shopping. How about you, Laura? Do you do things for Christmas ahead of time, or you just say, hey, I'll just wait?
Mostly I do things ahead of time if I can. I don't have a lot of people to do for, so it's not as hard as 20 years ago when there was so many people to do.
They do kind of, after people kind of go vanishing, it is you have a few less to buy for, that's for sure. We've got Anchorage checking in. Hi, Kathleen, thanks for joining us. And oh yeah, Cindy said with the book prices, yeah, unheard of nowadays. Yeah, that's why I thought I wanted to be sure and mention that to you guys. One other bit of announcement before we get chatting here. Be sure, if you end up watching this on YouTube, it will be on YouTube after we're done. It'll be on Facebook for a while, but as many of you now know, Facebook does not keep reels around forever. They're here for a while and then gone. And so if you want to rewatch any of the interviews we've been doing or the parties, go over to YouTube, to my Sheila Roberts channel, and subscribe. And then you can be part of what's going on over there. So we've got, who else has joined us now? Marie, yay! I'm glad you're here from MI, Cleo, Michigan is here, and Nicole has arrived. Hi, thanks, guys. And Star has arrived. Eileen is here. And Marie, we're good. We're good shape. We got a good bunch of us now. And I see we've got a couple more of our pals on Instagram joining. So thank you. Anyway, so that takes care of the announcements. Now we're going to circle back and talk a little bit more to Laura, who one of the fascinating things about Laura is the business that she started and how she started it. And Laura was into making soap. We're going to start right there at the very beginning. How on earth did you get into making soap?
Well, originally, even as a kid, I learned from my mom. And then we had a shop over in West Virginia, in the hills of West Virginia. And we were making, I mean, really raw soap. I mean, it was basic lard and no scent, no nothing. It was just a block of soap. And it was, you know, that's how I learned. It was really simple soap. And then later out in Washington, I thought, you know, I've got some bacon grease around or whatever it was. I think it was bacon grease. And I knew I could make soap out of it. So
out of bacon grease?
Oh, gosh, yes, it makes wonderful soap.
Oh, my gosh, that sounds so gross. Okay,
you can
carry on.
Yeah. So anyhow, if you've got like basic lard or bacon grease or beef tallow, that's what we used to make soap out of before modern soap, that people made their soap at home. They used everything. And it does not smell like bacon when it's done. It just doesn't.
Okay.
So anyhow, so that's how I started. And then I was at a restaurant one morning and they were throwing away all the French fryer oil. And I thought, well, shoot, I can make soap out of that. And so that started the long trek to Frog Soap, which was from reclaimed oil and glycerin. And at first it was just functional, but I thought, you know, who's going to want to buy the soap if it's just functional? You know, you want something that smells good, you want something that looks good. And so it started changing and to what it finally grew up to be and still is under the tutelage of Andy and her husband Greg. But it was earth friendly soap. It is award-winning soap.
Yes, it is.
We won Recycler of the Year award for Washington State, all kinds of different things like that. But it was just, it was fantastic. It was just, it grew over, gosh, it was over 10 years, Sheila, by the time that we ended up heading east to Maine, that I was there. So I guess it was 12, oh gosh, maybe as many as 13 years by the time I left. But yeah, it was just from basics and it grew from there.
I like the fact that it was so ecological, that you were using recycled oil from like the local restaurants. I mean, who would think to do that? I think that's just such a cool thing.
Well, if you look it up online, you'll see all that early beginning stuff from me, and nobody was doing it. No, you know, I looked to see there's got to be recipes out there or something, and there was nothing. So it was pretty much pioneering that way back in 2009, 10.
I love that though. I think that's just so cool that you started doing that.
Yeah.
By the way, I gotta say hi. We got a couple more that have rung in. Diane's come in from New Jersey, and who else made it here? Patty is here from what does that say? Patty was at Minnesota. I can't read my writing. Minnesota. So I'm glad you guys joined us. And this is interesting. Kathleen said she helped her grandma make soap. So she knows all about that. It feels a little intimidating to me. I would love to try and do that sometime, but I haven't worked up my nerve. One of my neighbors here makes soap, and I keep thinking I'm going to maybe do a little reel with her at some point and have her show us all how to make soap, but I haven't gotten quite that brave yet. Oh, Kissimmee has arrived. Hi, Rosie. So glad you guys are here to be meeting Laura. So you basically started out, when you did this, you were first selling at the farmer's market, right?
And that's where I met you on a Sunday morning up there at the ferry landing. And on Sundays, it was the buses didn't come up through there on that big U-turn where the buses go. And that's where they put the farmer's market on Sunday. And that's when you came strolling in one day and we met.
I did. And there's Miss Brilliant with her homemade soap. It's Cool. So you started small, and I want to, before we get into further into the story, because it was interesting. You reminded me that you cash flowed all of this. You never took out a loan for any of this as you grew your business, correct?
No, no, I never did. No, every cent I made went right back into the business, and that's how it went from just doing it at the farmers market out of my basement, and then went to the little store on Fifth Street. You remember that one down over the hill? And then it was, oh, gosh, it was during COVID that I ended up with that fabulous
Oh
building
yeah,
on
big, big
Pacific, that
store.
big, beautiful building. And that's when it was we were doubling the business every year. It was doubling. By the time I left, it had done that for 4 years, I guess.
But word of mouth, and you got a good product, and she makes really cool. And way back in the day, you guys probably don't even remember this. I used to give away odds and ends of little Laura goodies. She'd make these cute soaps like cupcakes and all these shapes and things, and
Yeah.
they were just so cool. Let's see, trying to check comments as they come in to make sure. Oh yeah, Cindy says she loves making homemade products for Christmas. Yes, for sure. And books, of course. Well, of course.
Of course.
But even in the little shop, that was really a cool shop. And I never did ask. I wondered if frog stands F, fresh, recycled, organic. Does that by any chance what frog stands for? Am I just
No, it's
Oh.
from reclaimed oil and glycerin. Is how
Wow.
that came
Okay,
about.
so that's what
Yeah.
frog sounds like. So
Yeah.
guys, if you look up frog soap, Bremerton, Washington, you'll see her shop is still going and thriving, even though she wound up moving clear across the country. The shop that she started is still going strong. Her product is still there. And I just think that's so cool. By the way, Kathleen says, cash flow is the key to a successful business.
Yeah.
You can't borrow money to make money. Golly, how true that is, for the most part. Unless you're somebody way, way up there, who's, looks like they've got a lot of money, and then the banks trip all over themselves to give it to them. But the average Josephine, we really need to be smart and grow slowly. Wouldn't you say? If you're trying to start a business, you grow slowly, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. Don't overspend. Don't spend what you don't have. It's as simple as that. I mean, I started out with, maybe $1,500 or something like that I made from selling eggs from our chickens and assorted things like that. And then started selling soap a little bit. But that's what I started out with. And it grew to a whole lot more than that. But I never took out a loan. I mean, plenty were offered, Laura, you should do this. But it was like,
Yeah.
nope.
Everybody would like to give you money, and that's not a good way to build wealth or
No.
stay out of trouble. We have, I know a lot of you guys know one of my favorite finance gurus is Dave Ramsey, and he's the, don't go into debt dude who's always helping people get out of debt once they've fallen into that deep hole. And he talks about, and he was an expert on that because way back he got overextended in real estate and thought he was hot stuff and went bankrupt and had a terrible time. And he started his business on a card table in his living room, and just built from there. And the guy's a multimillionaire now. They do a lot of good deeds too with his business. But I thought that's such a good example. Started on a card table in his living room, and so if any of you are thinking, yeah, I want to do a business, think, how can I start slowly and grow slowly without going into debt? By the way, hi to our gang who's shown up here on Instagram. I see some familiar faces there too, and thank you for joining us. And let me see, I think I saw a comment here. Let me see if I can read it without messing up. Sorry, I'm late. Oh, Heather says she's sorry. That's okay, because again, guys, you can watch this later on YouTube and it will be available there. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, make sure that you do. And yeah, Pam says, sorry, can't make it tonight. That's okay, Pam. You can watch it after the fact, right? So anyway, I think this is so fascinating, but tell us a little bit about some of the challenges were that you faced as you were building your business.
Oh God, I guess the biggest one was, again, not borrowing money sometimes when it seemed to get a little tight, but then having to do so much myself. I was working it all day, and then when I was home, I was still working it in the evening, and then I'd work 6 days a week, and then maybe take a little time off Sunday, but there was always more to do to get to the point where I could hire somebody. Once I could hire somebody, it made a world of difference. But I couldn't do it too quickly, and started with part-time and then later, full-time with someone helping me. And the difference of what we could make together and the creativity that having someone else in the shop with me made a world of difference. I mean,
Mm.
I've got a lot of ideas. I still have ideas, but the thing is to have somebody to bounce them off, to have their input.
Yeah.
You can't put a price on that. You just
Yeah.
can't put a price on it.
I love that. Well, and just having somebody help with the labor when you're working that much.
Oh yeah.
How many hours a day would you say you put in when you were first starting the business?
Oh, jeez. 10, easy. And because I was doing it all day, and then I'd stay up, after dinner and still do stuff. It was a lot. I mean, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But it took a lot of hours. You can't just say, well, I'm going to work from 9 to 5. It just doesn't work that way.
Well, I
Um,
think I remember somebody once saying that if you love what you do, it's not work.
no, no, it wasn't. I enjoyed every bit of it, but it was a lot of time. So if you
Oh,
don't
yeah.
have that kind of time to invest, you've got to
Yeah.
really think about it, because it becomes a full time plus job. Now, the last couple of years, the girls would send me home. Laura, go home. Because I'd want to stay and do more. But
Sure.
it was, Laura, go home. We got it. We got it. They knew how to do everything. They just, that was the point of having help. Duh. And so, but it was just I couldn't not work it,
Well,
you
it's
know.
hard to let go. Especially, I tend to be a bit of a micromanager, and I think it can be very hard to let go and say, okay, now I hired somebody to help with this. I really do need to let them do
Mhm.
something. But how did you know when it was time to hire on help?
I just physically couldn't do it anymore. Orders were more than I could handle because the orders were coming in online. I was still doing the farmers market for a long time. I was doing
Mm,
shows, uh, and the shop at the same time, and it was a lot. And
yeah.
so early on, it was just somebody to watch the shop while I was at a show. And then later it was just I needed someone for the manpower, because it's a lot of measuring,
Mm,
it's just a lot of stuff.
yeah.
But it's easily learned. The thing is with soap, it's not hard, it's easily learned. And then it was later when I could afford more insurance, more things that they could be allowed to do, like handling the lye. I had to work up to that to be able to cover a person making the soap. That took a while. They could do it, but liability, I couldn't afford for them to do it at that point. But then later, after we were up on Pacific in that wonderful big building, that's when everything changed. It just got
Yeah.
big. It just got really, really big. That was when we ended up on PBS. Did you probably remember that, of Make It There?
No, I don't remember that at all,
Oh,
actually.
good heavens. We ended up, I don't know how they found me, but they came over from Seattle and said, we're starting this new show on PBS over there in Seattle, and it's called um, uh, Made There, meaning made right in Kitsap County. I
Oh,
was the
cool.
I was the premiere episode where the shop was, and it's still up there. If you go up there on PBS and look for it, it's called Made There.
Made there.
And that was crazy. Then people were coming in, they'd seen it, all over the country,
Oh,
and
my.
people were coming into the store, and they were it was kind of funny because they were gobsmacked when they saw me of, oh, we saw you on TV, and it was like, oh my.
How fun is that? Oh,
It
that's
was a
so
lot
fun.
of fun. It was so much fun because they were, they'd come special, jump on the ferry, come over to Bremerton to see Frog Soap. It became a destination. And that was so much fun. That was a joy. It was good. But a lot of stuff started happening. A lot of things, when we were able to have that much space to do that much more, to go so many more places, because we had the three of us.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
we
yeah.
could, we could do so much. It was so much fun. Sheila, I can't tell you. I just had a ball. It was ball.
Well,
I'm
I
so
used to love to come in there because she had something different for every holiday. All these cute little different kinds of soaps. I remember the cupcake soap. You had was it candy corn soap at
oh
Halloween?
yeah,
I
candy
remember the candy cream, I can't talk, candy corn
corn.
soap. It was just, I mean, you just had so many unusual and fun things that you did. I want to get back to the thing about the lye. I think that scares me. I like, because you can get burned with lye, can't you? I mean, I would be really kind of afraid
Yes.
to even try
If you
making
if
soap.
you get it on you, it wants to make soap out of you because we have fat on us, and that's what.
Ah, what did you do for protection then? Did you wear
But
gloves
the
or
thing
how did
is,
you?
you dress so if anything gets on you, it gets on your clothes. But the thing is that most people that teach soap making don't tell you is vinegar neutralizes it. You keep a spray bottle of vinegar nearby. If you spill a little, you get a little on your skin or something, just spray it with vinegar. Just
Oh my
regular
gosh.
old white vinegar,
Okay.
and that neutralizes it. Boom, it's no danger anymore. And it's like even in the workshops that I taught, when you're making soap and it's still, the lye is still in there, it's getting weaker and weaker as it's turning those oils into soap. And so that's how you can use lye soap and it doesn't hurt you because there's no longer any of the oil and there isn't any lye because they have become a new thing of soap.
Oh,
Yeah,
I never knew that. That's
yeah.
interesting.
Well, actually, it's soap and glycerin. When you put lye and oil together with water, it turns into soap and glycerin. And that's one of the reasons handmade soap is so good on your skin. That would be a noisy truck going by.
Yeah, Laura's enjoying life out on her
I'm on the
porch
porch.
tonight, so we're getting some sound effects.
Yeah. And we're out in the boonies, so you get a lot of trucks. But anyhow, yeah, so that's what makes handmade soap so wonderful is all that natural glycerin that comes in. It just happens. You don't put it in there. It just happens. It's part of the process.
Interesting.
Oh yeah, soap is cool. It's a good skill to learn and it's wonderful to be able to make your own. If you can't make your own, go buy it from somebody. Yeah.
Yes, in fact, I did recently at well, not real recently, but a few months back at something, but actually that soap it's I think it's partly because Gerhardt just glops it up when he uses it. It gets gloppy, and I'm like, and I'm always a little. I don't know if you've seen this. There's a little gizmo. It's got prongs on it. You put your soap in it, and it keeps it up theoretically out of the
Right.
soap dish. But
Yeah.
it still gets gloppy, and I don't know if that's just how homemade soap is, or that he just accidentally has goobered it up.
You do have to keep it as dry as possible and put it on a soap dish that drains. I always kept wooden ones in the shop that had like a little grit on them, and it kept let them drain. But if you don't let it drain, it's gonna get.
Okay, that makes sense then. Okay, so that's just a natural thing. By the
Yeah.
way, who just came in? Rose said she's made it here. Hi, Rose. Glad you made it. And you'll be able to watch the rest of this after we're done. Be able to catch up on the beginning of how Laura started her business, which is just so cool. And by the way, everyone, if any of you have business-oriented questions for Laura, feel free to post them, and I will try and make sure. I'm trying to monitor the comments here. And if you have a question, hopefully I can get to it and ask her. Sometimes I see the comments after the person has gone, the interview is over. It's like, whoops, that was a good question. That was a good comment. But that just happens sometimes. But anyway, so if you do have a question for Laura about business or soap making or whatever, feel free to post that and I will try and catch it. But okay, so the time came, you decided you were going to move across the country and have a new adventure. And so she left Washington. She's now back east. But you have other things that you do. Laura has done spinning and knitting, and you're also making brooms. I'm not sure what that's about. Do you want to tell me what is involved in making brooms? Like my floor brooms or decorative brooms or what?
They're functional it's brooms. They're actually functional art. Um, when I was
Okay.
in the store in Bremerton there, I like to have in artists and people to come in and make things. I tried to get a broom maker. I couldn't find a broom maker, so I taught myself to make brooms.
Of course.
Yeah, there you go. So anyhow, so upon retiring, I thought, well, that's still a good thing to do. So I'm doing, one of the things I'm doing is making brooms. And it's not hard. It just takes time, and it takes, good strong muscles and
But that's good. You're getting your workout,
I'm
right?
getting some workout, keeping strong. But it's it's soothing. It's very soothing to sit and make, or tie is actually what you're doing, is brooms. And I'm using broom corn, which is something that our best understanding is that Benjamin Franklin brought it to the colonies when, after he'd been on his, he'd go abroad and went different places, Egypt even, and brought back the seeds. And it's even recorded in history as to who to give these seeds to. And it became the first corn brooms in the colonies. And so we've been making these a long time. And they were basically all round brooms when brooms started making, and I make those until the Shakers came along. The religious sect, the Shakers, and they make wonderful handmade products. And they're the first ones to make the broom flat, that it wasn't a round thing. And that's
Interesting.
yeah, the history of brooms is very cool. And so I do make brooms, and I go to shows, and I give workshops. I've got another set coming up here soon. They're via the extension courses at the University of Maine. So it's fun to do that. And I demonstrate different places to show how it's done. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
I'm hung up on broom corn. When I think of corn, I think of the stuff we eat that grows in big stalks. That can't be what you're talking about.
Well, it's not that corn. It grows like edible corn, but at the top, instead of having, ears of corn popping out, it's these long, if you look at the bottom of the broom, it's the seeds,
like straw thingies.
Yeah, and they I don't know. I don't know what you want to call it. If you look at a broom, a corn broom, you'll see, it's those stalks. Okay. And then those are cut off, and that's what you make the broom from.
For heaven's sake. That's interesting.
It is. It's very interesting. And then they were made in different shapes, like your standard kitchen broom, a flat broom, or the flat shaker. I also make turkey wing brooms, and they imitate what people were using as a true turkey wing with feathers on it to sweep crumbs, to sweep things with.
For heaven's sake.
Yeah, so that's what they were using before. And then they started making brooms to emulate. It's a beautiful curved, it's just a magnificent broom. It's functional, but it's really beautiful. Another one is a hawk tail, and it looks like the flare of a hawk's tail, the way it's tied and woven and the way the broom corn goes out.
Wow.
Cobweb brooms that are wonderful, and that the little seed things on the end on a broomstick, you reach up and you grabs the cobwebs around the corners of your room, and it does better than any synthetic product, and it looks really cool. It looks sort of like think of a wizard's broom or a witch's broom. It looks a lot like that.
Interesting.
So, all kinds of brooms. I make cake testers, long pieces of broom corn that you can stick in your cake and pull it out, and it shows if it's done or not. Pot scrubbers, veggie scrubbers, dolls, broom dollies, broom corn dollies, just all kinds of stuff.
Oh my goodness. Now, are you selling those? You said you're selling those mainly at farmers markets. You're not doing this online or anything, right? Just locally.
Yeah, I'm doing it mostly online, and then I give workshops, and I go to
online. You are doing it online?
Oh yeah.
Guys, okay. Well, so where can people find you online?
If you go to my main website, which is pleasantrivermaine.com.
Pleasant River, Maine, like the state.
Yes.
This is, Rosie's got a good question. Do you have samples to show us? Probably, I'm guessing probably not, huh? I should have asked her.
Yeah, I should have thought to bring something down. I don't have any here. I'd have to go up to my workshop. It's up in the second floor of the carriage house up there. But if there's something you'd like to post later, I'll send you some pictures if you want.
Yeah, feel free to post some pictures online. But people, you can see pictures of these if you go to her website again, which is
PleasantRiverMaine.com.
Pleasant River, Maine, like the state.com.
And
So,
the name of my broom are Rides Well,
cute.
RHYDS Well, Rides Well brooms. Jay thought of that.
That's adorable. I love that. Rides Well
When
brooms.
people read it, and they finally get it when they see the word, and it's like, oh, good grief! But yeah,
That's just so
the name of it.
cute.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love that.
yeah. So
That is great.
you'll see those up there, and yeah, I take orders. It gives me spending money, keeps me out of trouble, you know.
Okay, so she's still doing business, guys, just a different
Yeah.
kind, and maybe not on quite as big a scale at the moment, but who
Right.
knows?
I don't have the space anymore. I live like a normal person now.
Well, what's the fun in that? Cindy wants to know, do you have a favorite scent for soap?
Oh, geez. No, I don't. There are just so many good scents. It just depends on what you want. You know, peppermint is so exhilarating. I mean, it makes your skin tingle as well. Lavender, oh, it's just so soft and so love. I just planted about, it was close to 100 lavender plants in my yard.
Oh my good, 100?
Yeah, well, I like to distill it and stuff. So anyhow, so lavender, lemon, orange. Oh gosh, there's just so many. You know, I used to make over, oh gosh, probably 200 different bars of soap in the shop.
Wow.
And I still make a little, but not like that. But yeah, it was a lot with different colors, scents, designs. It was a lot.
A lot of creativity there. And thanks, Marie, for posting. She actually posted the website, guys, so you can see it.
Oh,
Pleasant
good.
River, wherever it just went, pleasantrivermaine.com. So very cool that you guys can have a chance to go there and check things out when we're done talking.
And
So I'm just wondering what advice you have for women, maybe even just looking for a new hobby. How hard is it to get into some of these more the traditional domestic things like weaving and making brooms? And I'm assuming you'll probably find courses at your local community college for some of these things.
Mm-hmm. And there are also groups around, spinning groups. You can find them via Facebook. It's like when I got here, I didn't know a soul, and I started going to just different things I could see. We also have a place here down in Dover Foxcroft, which is a kind of a community center. And there were spinners weaving there that, you know, we'd all come up with our spinning wheels and we spin and visit, and we teach other people to spin. But if you look in Facebook groups are really a good way to find local groups of people doing what you might want to try. And they'll usually teach you how to do it as well. I've been spinning for better part of 20 years now. Wow. And I was doing it all by myself for years. And then when we moved back here, I now belong to 3 different spinning groups.
Oh, how fun.
And it's, you know, some of the people overlap, and it's just fun to get together. And we have, we go to monthly spin-ins at different venues. And that's how I ended up being a part of the Mainly Spinners. I was invited to be part of their team for the International Back-to-Back Wool Challenge. And that one started in Australia. And it was,
of course, sheep.
Sure, sheep. And it was started as a fundraiser to support folks that had cancer and just to thwart cancer, anything they could. And so I said, sure, I'll do this. And what it is in one day, we have a team of 8 members. One shears the sheep, and then one person is the runner and then plies the yarn we spin. And the rest of us are spinning. And it starts out, we're all spinning just as fast as we can. And then about 20 minutes in, we've got one person knitting. We've already made enough yarn, single strand, to ply it. And then another 15, 20 minutes later, we've got 2 people knitting, then up to 4 people knitting. And then 2 of us are then spinning and supplying all those knitters. By the end of the day, we make a garment that came from the back of a sheep, raw wool, to the back of a human. We make a whole sweater in one day.
Wow. In one day. Oh my gosh. I
One
can't even
day.
mind around that.
Last year, we did it in approximately 10 and a half hours. This year, we thought, oh, we're going to smoke them this year. We're going to do it so fast. We've been practicing. Our sheep got muddy. Our sheep got wet and muddy. And because your sheep isn't allowed to have a coat on it or anything. It's a sheep. It's raw. It's full of lanolin. It's full of veggie matter. It's full of other things. Well, anyhow, when we brought the fleece inside, the tips of it started drying. They got like concrete. We couldn't get the wool to come apart. And
oh my gosh.
And so it was just, we ended up doing it, and it was 12 hours and something. It was a long day.
It was a long day. I'd have been gone.
But we're all rooting each other on. We've got support teams that, they're cheering us on. They're teaching other people to spin. And then in the end, we may not have taken 3rd place in the whole world like we did the year before, but we made the most money as a fundraiser of all the teams. So that was, it's like we presented a beautiful check to Sarah's house down outside of Bangor, Maine. And it, it's the delight of it. It's the fun of it. You wouldn't believe you could have so much fun getting so exhausted. But if you look it up, you'll see our team, the Mainly Spinners, and on YouTube you'll see the different teams. It's probably the longest, slowest, fastest day we've ever done. It's fascinating, fascinating. But you can end up doing all kinds of things when you're spinning. We make garments, we make toys, we make stuff that we auction off and sell that also goes to as a fundraiser. So, but yeah, you can find these groups all over the place. I never knew there were so many groups until, this retirement thing happened and getting busy and doing stuff. So I stay busy with that a lot.
And I don't think you're ever going to officially retire. There will always be something that you do, which I think is inspiring for the rest of us. And Deanne was saying she would like to do something with the blankets she makes. She does baby quilts, afghans, and pillowcases. And I'm just wondering if maybe for Deanne, it might be interesting for her to, if she's, what you mean by do something with, if you're thinking you'd like to sell them, maybe a farmer's market is a good way for you, or a craft fair is a good way to be able to spread the love and sell some of your merchandise. What do you think, Laura?
Well, that's always a good way to go if you're looking to donate, especially with blankets. I can't think of the actual name for it, but it's the Linus, like Linus and Snoopy and Charlie Brown, the Linus Blanket Project. And they make blankets to donate. So that's one option to look at if you're looking to donate. But sure, unfortunately, with handmade items, you're like this, you're never gonna get a lot of money out of it. You can do pretty well if your work is consistent, if you make several sizes of the same garment, but then you're getting into manufacturing, and if you're not into that, it's kind of more, or I don't know, you're just not going to make a ton of money out of it, because it's work. It's hard work. It takes a long time to make things.
So that's a decision you have to make. Do I want to let go of my stuff? Sometimes maybe you don't get what your time is worth. By the way, bye, Rosie. Thanks for joining. We had to go. But so anyway, there are some thoughts though. And again, whatever your passion happens to be, just like with Laura, maybe you are going to want to end up turning that into a moneymaker, because that is possible. Or maybe you're just going to do it for fun. But so great advice from Laura today. Guys, I hope this has been encouraging to you and inspiring. And I just love how she just started making soap for the fun of it, then the farmer's market, and then she's getting customers, she expands. I think I'll have a shop, and just step by step, right? Just little by little, you just moved into having a really fabulous business.
and use social media. I don't know how many businesses ignore free, absolutely free advertising, which is social media. Instagram, absolutely. Facebook, absolutely. I can't tell you how many orders I used to get because of my posts, what I made that day, what I'm working on that day.
Oh, smart.
Pictures, lots of photos. Uh, it's amazing, and do it often, because there's a rule that if people don't see something at least 7 times, they're not going to remember it. They're not going to remember it. And you have to keep in their face, not rudely, but you need to remind them that you're there all the time. You got this great new bar of soap. You got this great new hat you knitted. And let them see it. They want to see it.
That's interesting. Because I feel like it's so funny. On my Instagram account here, you guys, I don't know if it's the same person that comes and goes. I have 1 or 2 followers. I'll go, oh, I've gotten up to such and such number, and then the next day I thought 2 have gone. I thought, I must not be interesting enough. I don't know what that's about, but but if you're making something, you always have something to show and some progress that you can show. And I do have a question here that came from Heather. She said, my hubby has a hobby of painting rocks and bricks. Would you recommend Etsy or fairs? What do you think is a good thing for that?
A mix is going to be your best. If you can go to events, fairs, festivals, go. It's excellent exposure. And always take, my grandmother called them pot boilers with her paintings. She had her big paintings that cost a fortune, and then she'd have small ones that people could afford to buy. I always took things that were also less than $10. So look at things to bring people in, happy, fun things to bring them in. And then, those are the things that really end up supporting you, the things that you can sell a lot of, because people aren't carrying a lot of money around, and times are getting tougher as the days go on, and they're less likely to be, they don't have as much expendable funds as we used to. So,
and would you recommend taking charge cards? I know you can do Square.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Being able to take cards is a must. I've used Square all these years, and I still use it. Cash I did for a long time. Now, interestingly enough, where I live here in Maine, cash is king. Everybody has cash. And
interesting.
It depends on the type of show I'm going to, but cash is everything. And it's just like, there's eggs by the side of the road, there's corn, there's whatever by the side of the road. One lady up the road, she's selling baked goods by the side of the road, from her property. But so cash is big around here. It's really big. So it just, it depends on where you live, what you need to do, what you have to do to get out there. But use every front you can. Don't get stuck on just doing it at fairs, or just doing it from your front porch, or just doing it online. The combination is what does it. It's like online shopping at my shop. Even though we did a brisk business in the stop, I still probably pulled a good quarter of my business online, especially at holidays, because people didn't want to get out and shop, and they'd order it and I'd ship it to them. But you got to be fast. You can't dawdle. You gotta do. I've got a box of brooms in there ready to go out in the post office tomorrow.
Wow.
It's just you just keep at it. As long as it's fun. If it's not fun, don't do it.
Good point. That's great advice. Okay, well, guys, I promised Laura I wasn't going to keep her all night, so we are going to say goodbye. First, we're going to let go of our gang on Instagram. Thank you all for joining us today for this live. It was great fun, and I believe I've got something scheduled for next week, so come on back. So bye to them first, and now we'll say goodbye to our Facebook group. And guys, as always, it's been lovely to hang out with you. And thanks for joining Laura and myself. If you missed part of it, this will be up on Facebook for a while. Otherwise, hop on over to YouTube. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, hit subscribe. And that is it. We're going to say bye, guys. Have a great week.